Yoda. Story.
Very much. Planchi.
Wow. Ekiwo kye kino. Ntunuulira obulamu bwange okuyita mu ssomero. Mbadde siina nnyo control ku decisions eziteekingibwa. Kuva mu nursery, bazadde basalawo ne bakuteekera mu nursery school, n'oyita mu primary school, n'okikuba choose for your secondary school. After O level, for my parents, they didn't really choose for me my course, but still, it has to do with them, a great deal of it. Maybe the school headmaster nagamba yakoze bwati biki biki ochegedde. So suddenly, you find yourself at 24 years. Nga a lot of your life, academic life, which eventually dictates the career that you take.
Yeah. And the kind of life you're going to have.
And the kind of life that you're going to have. Ngomukono gwo tegubaddemu nnyo. Ochegedde. So you find a group of us, young people lamenting, that you're thinking, senga nakola kiri, senga nakola kino, ochegera. Something actually that deter the speed at which we are supposed to move forward and stuff. Kubanga today, mabega ne tukaaba about things we didn't have control about. Simanyi ng'ekijjo kitunuliramu naye. Okitegera kyegamba.
Picture njifuna because certainly wesanga it's true that for majority of us, if not all of us, we end up where we end up with very little to no contribution. Because let us try to see how, when do careers start to be forged? Careers, for me, I feel they start to be forged when, by our Uganda education system, that to some secondary school. Secondary school there, that's when,
A-level. A-level, it should be around A-level time.
Wow, I'm convinced that O-level does have a part to play, is that O-level ultimately is it's going to give us a basis. If either for your parents or the head teachers or director of studies of whichever schools you go to join, O-level government
so you think A-level directly leads into what? A-level?
O-level naye ina contribution yayo.
Okay.
So we saying that majority of these decisions, and we don't make them. You feel those pujab, whatever they call them, those forms those forms whereby you're supposed to be choosing the course, depending on priority. What course do you wish the most to have? And I will tell you, with rather a broken heart myself, none of us ever gets these courses. It's just a few. I wish I would provide a statistic for that. But I know, even for our viewers out there,
your first choice,
exactly.
That course.
First choice, you're my blazer. You're such a lucky one. But I can tell you, fena to be feeding. In certain cases, tofuna koya dene kwezo courses.
Exactly.
So what I'm trying to say is that Wesanganga, all through Pakaro graduating, you have not done one thing you truly wanted to ever do. You just,
for the greatest percentage of people.
Exactly. You just end up wherever you end up because of decisions that are made by one or two people or by a given system of grading that for some reason felt as though...
I think it is largely because of the system.
The system of grading that felt as so this guy is likely to make a better this person than a better the other person. So it's never really about what you want at heart for majority of us. So
you think you can do best.
Exactly. So we find ourselves in courses. Recently I was interacting with a young woman. I think she's about 23. She did some course. I might not have to provide all the details or something, but it's a true story. About a week ago. So she was telling me about her course. How much is a person of your profession paid?
Which course is that? Which course are you talking about?
It's something to do with a bachelor's in economics, statistics, something of that sort. For people that know, those kinds of courses, they might be able to put it together. But it was somewhere in that line. The economics and statistics, either both or one of the two. But statistics was somewhere there. So she tells me she does not know how much people of her profession actually supposed to be paid. Now, for me, the picture I draw from there is that you're looking at someone really nga ebintu bino ye muntu ono gwe tubadde to discuss nga ye gwe nange.
Exactly.
You get into wesanga nga this person graduated okitegedde naye tamanyi what their payment is supposed to be because ultimately bwe tusoma as we all know our system not really be biased but it's actually the truth we are hoping that we are employed just like we are just like majority of our colleagues out there are struggling to get into the parliament so kikulaga ki
still just as majority of our fellows are out there employed in what they don't want to do exactly
so kakati you were sharing with me a story of a young man who wanted to do engineering. Then, which course? Give me that story.
A guy gets admitted at Macquarie after his A-level. Yakola sports science.
That was the course that was offered at the university.
Yes, at the university. I think he must have started with the engineering courses that he wanted. Then the last maybe it is that.
I know.
Sports science.
Your strength, you man.
Exactly.
How dare you put it at the bottom?
Here.
Good.
So, guy runs in 3 years. Now is a course, but he's thinking, what am I going to do in sports science? You know what those people do? Actually, they earn, like they get real money. But then it is basically for people who are sport like you become a coach. You become a trainer, those people run gyms, they are at the swimming pool training those kids, they are at those schools, but training abana. But then he's thinking, need the man. So, what he does, he goes to Chambogo, now applying for diploma in engineering, electrical. Now, ku diploma, now coming back.
How many years are we speaking already?
Because you see, sports science is 3 years. That diploma is also 3 years.
Those are 6.
And then it's going in for either 4 or other 3 years.
That is already a bachelor's in medicine and surgery. And then you get to actually specialize and work for a year.
Exactly.
And someone's only chasing after bachelor's in engineering.
And even when he had actually gotten onto his course from the very start, bachelor's in engineering, whatever type he wanted, he would be at some specialist level somewhere
exactly, of any profession.
But then you
in fact we understand them sports science
and this is one of the few abafayo ne bagamba kino kye nayagala at first aira kyengendo gezaako okugoba however much the road is getting to
yes.
Wonder
it's starting to meander.
So
I think that paints us one very clear picture. Take an example of sailing on a boat. Let's say we are on the water, okay? And there is land surrounding us. Perhaps it's not exactly in sight, but there is land. We eventually know that when we sail, there is a chance that we actually get to land somewhere. Kakati, we all prefer different kinds of lands. Let's say a given land that perhaps looks in a given way, for whatever the reasons. And so for me, I feel as though for majority of the journey in the initial stages, someone else is rowing this boat for you. The teachers are rowing this boat for you. Your parents are making all the decisions. They're playing all the cards for you.
Exactly. We can't forget the contribution of the system.
Exactly. The system. So Kakati, by the time they throw this boat now for you, Nebagamba, some eryato liryo kakati ffe tukoledde bwe kyetubadde tusobola eryato liryo lyevugire ekituufu kiri ekibuuzo kisigala nti gye babadde balitunuza amazima gennyini gy'obadde ng'oyagala okugenda
nene ekyala dero before you reach that part I want to also accept the fact that in the initial start story nga yakatandika honestly nawe batomanyi gyoyagala kugenda but then with every stage with every level with every stage you come to find yourself, you come to learn the person that you are in there.
Correct.
Yeah. So we can't really rule it out completely. Maybe
it's important.
At the time when you actually need to read the campus. Your own self.
Correct.
You can't rule it out. Now, I mean, for some people, honestly, purpose comes way much earlier. Nabeda unga gaya chimanyi is the artist. But then you know. Of course, okubeera artists tekimugana kola ki kukola bulungi mu sciences and then you just meet an academic registrar who advises parents kyono mwana chemistry
that we need in the science. Exactly. I know. So for me, here's the thing. We do have a couple of young people that bwe bamukwase enkasa ezo yeekubira eryato eryo basuubira nti ajja kulyongeramu line gye bamutaddemu. But for some of them, I think actually by the time they are given enkasa ezo nti kati kuba eryato lyo eryato ebaliviirako wasusuulirawo n'agakati omanyi empewo z'ennyanja ze zigenda ofuuwa gye ngenda okola ki exactly, because we find these people ng'omuntu omusanga n'agamba ama nze nasoma bino ebintu naye either nali sibyagala oba mulimu saafuna nga n'abamu omulimu yanoonyaako mutuufu akaseera kaalizira, because sometimes in the job hunting system in which we are raised to actually fit, you must have the tactics. Because tactics like volunteering, some people have gotten jobs by merely saying, "No, just come here and work for free." And whenever you feel that I can be, a valuable member of this team, you can start to tell me, but I really don't mind. And that's how they have gotten jobs. Exactly. And then you find for me, I graduated in Somia Bitao Byange, I cannot volunteer. If you're not paying me, then I'm not working. But some people have gotten jobs through volunteering. Some have gotten jobs before through making connections, making themselves available and all that. But before we discuss the tactics of actually getting into the job system, so the people who feel as though bawanika mangolo okuba nti yeesanze nga abadde talina part gya playing anyway. N'agamba bino ebintu yammwe mwabinkaka bino nakola atya n'abisula. So for me, I feel as though kisoboka ekyo kyonna kye baakuwa okyegedde, and then you make it pivotal, very key in actually establishing something. So I feel as though there is no knowledge that is irrelevant, provided it is given. Every knowledge is relevant. I know of a man, maybe into video of air conditioning, refrigeration kind of things. I don't even know what the name of the course is. It was my first time to hear of the course, and the man is doing pretty decently. And as somebody I looked at myself, I'm thinking, I wish I did this thing, but then I could never have done it had it been had I been advised to do the thing. Because I think right now he's doing more of I don't know how to term it, but it's more of outdoor air conditioning. I don't know if that makes sense if I put it
like people are seated outside, like some
temperatures are high or something,
and
then kind of mobile air conditioning services. Things to do with sorts of going to be more refrigeration and things of that nature. Installing air conditioners of any sort anywhere. You get.
Olinga gamba today, us, the young people,
yes.
Are not paying attention to the long time statement Yabatu Gamanti. The first step, like a stepping stone,
Yes.
You get it?
You always
like
need
that stepping
one.
stone. That
and so some of us
point.
have the stepping stone, but then we are thinking, this is never good enough to take me anywhere. Let me look for something else, or let me just give up. Or we find ourselves in some sorts of scenarios of that nature. But when we use our own examples, how do I start to work? I volunteer first. I won't deny maybe in my line of profession, you probably say it's much easier, but then I'll tell you, I'm not exactly at the same level as everyone that was in my class, or certainly everyone in my year. You understand? So what am I trying to say is that oluusi tulina okubeera even the aspect of patience, kalimuneka watekajjiddewo kitegedde. Don't just throw it all away.
Where your message is,
yes,
you might have not had the control in the past.
Exactly.
So many examples, there are so many excuses that we can always have. That techagenda bulungi no course chegera, but then you're making us realize that kino chechiri, this is what it is.
At that moment there is not much that you can undo.
So I'm not going to go back at my 10th birthday.
Exactly. It's not possible.
Then I start to do these things the way they come through chegera.
Yes.
But then I'm here at my 24th birthday.
You learn that control. Exactly.
So I think I can. If I want this, I can start from this. Until now, the thing is, because honestly, if I look at myself, the contribution I had to the point where I am today, there isn't anything wrong about what you've said, because for how long have I had the control? Just a few years out of campus, and then you're thinking, Kali,
based on kino kye bankwasizza,
and you see man nze ndowooza nno nti start your neighbor that start. Ochegede.
True.
Moving forward from the start, that is absolutely and entirely on you.
On you.
Ochegede. So why go gonna put that Ogambe 10 years down the road, we stand 30 something. Ochegede. Ogambe na ye.
My profession is what has failed me. You see, there was one man that I was speaking to, rather an influential one, and he said that you can do absolutely anything. From wherever, from whichever point of view, you can do anything, you can be anything, you just have to put your mind to it. You just have to want it enough. Put your mind to it. So, Nzeno Ngamba, it's really not about the worth of that which you've been handed to start from. It's about how
Being
determined you are to actually use whatever has been handed to you to actually make a decent life out of it, provided something is actually handed to you. It's your sole responsibility to stop lamenting, to downplay it, to act as though it is nothing, and do something with it. I feel as though can get us
I think so, and you see that I think the priceless thing about it all, when you don't do it, you can never know where it will lead you.
In fact,
because you see today, how many careers people cherish, and then you find someone who does something that you couldn't expect people can earn a living from, and that's what they do. So many examples. The most relevant to us, the young people, is agriculture. You can ask how many of us are willing to get hold of the hoe and then
try to dig around and plant a few things.
But then you can find people who are just happy every day with the modernities that are there in the field, earning plenty of money out of that. And you see, for me, I think we can afford to learn more at this point than so much later in life. Trying something and then finding out that actually I can't do it, or it's not what I want. You get ever much like you just have to do something. Find out, can it work for you? If it can't work for you, can you use it to get something that can work for you? You get it? Because you see, we get at work even after qualification, but we don't want to do that kind of work. Can you use that work that you have first at hand so that it can get you somewhere that you want to be? You get it? And then you're living every day like that, and you're waking up every day to go to work, not because you love this work that you're doing so much,
because you want to push yourself to get something out of this, to get you to the promised land.
And that is the key of the concept of the stepping stone. You get it?
Exactly.
You get, because now you have the driver's seat. You take your direction.
Exactly.
You get it?
Exactly.
But then that concept where you talked about us giving it a bit of time so that it actually matures up.
And is very, very key in growing this music.
Anyway, I think for our viewers out there, maybe you could relate to that situation here, because so the same message, man.
That's right. And you know what? We wish you good luck in whatever it is that you're pursuing. If you stick to it, if you understand it well enough, if you're not really the kind of person that is, from one thing to another, which is not good for whatever you're doing, if you stick to that one thing and, there is belief that you can actually get it to the final point,
Of course.
My sister, my brother, not before long, your dividends will be there. And so, thank you so much for being around, though.
Yep, good.